Hi everybody! Today I'm doing a collaboration video with my friend 1fitbruja. We're going to show you how two different witches have unique and different approaches to blessing and enchanting our cars. And hopefully you will get some great ideas on how you can do the same for your car. Coming up next. Welcome back to my studio. If you're new here, then welcome. This is the studio where I write, where I create art, and where I create magic. And I am, of course, Mickie Mueller, author, illustrator, and witch. If you love to learn simple ways to do your own witchcraft with stuff that you already have around the house, then you have come to the right place, my friend. Just click the subscribe button and make sure that you ring the little bell when you're down there, because that will let you know every time I upload a new video. I am so excited today, you guys, because I've been watching 1fitbruja for a long time on YouTube. I love her content. She's just like a straightforward girl. She tells it like it is. She lives her witchcraft. And I just love her. So I'm really excited to be doing a collaboration video with her today.
Before I get too far ahead of myself, today's video on safe travels, magic, and protection charms is collaborated with Mickie Mueller. And she is an author. She has published her own tarot decks, her own oracle decks. She's an illustrator. She owns her own metaphysical shop, and she is located here on YouTube. And if you have not subscribed to her, then I don't know what the hell you're doing, because she is freaking amazing. So after watching this, I suggest that you go subscribe to her channel.
If you guys don't already watch her, I think you're probably gonna love her as much as I do. So here's what happened. Probably most of you guys know that my car broke down, and not just broke down, but broke down for the last time for me anyway. We were driving a Saturn Vue. It was a great little car, but we had put an awful lot of money into it over the years. After a couple different mechanics looking at it, I discovered that the transmission had gone out. And as some of you probably know, when the transmission goes out, it's like a very huge expense to fix, and it was going to cost more than the value of the car to have it fixed. So we decided that the smartest thing to do was just go get something else. We really lucked out. We got a great deal on a Chevy Trax that was a courtesy car previously. It doesn't have a ton of miles, so I got a really good car, but it was a used car price because it's not brand new. And this is what I love, because I'm a girl with an eye for a bargain. But when I was posting about it on Instagram, 1fitbruja commented that she also bought a car that same weekend, and she got the same kind of car that I did, you guys. And I was like, holy cow, mine's white, hers is black. And I was like, that is so cool. Well, I had already decided, you guys, that I was going to do a video about kind of, clearing the energy out of my car because, of previous drivers and stuff. And, how I bless and enchant my car for safe driving and protection from vandals and flying rocks and all of the nutty things that can happen to a car. And when I realized that she got the same car at the same time that I got, I was like, girl, why don't we do a collaboration video? And you can show people how you do it, and I'll show people how I do it, because that's the coolest thing, you guys, about watching all of these fun witchcraft videos here on YouTube, is every witch has a different perspective, and they all work. It's just, you know what? It's just your take on how you decide that you want to practice your craft. And everybody's coming at it with different experiences, different traditional backgrounds, different people who have taught us things throughout the years. And so each person's practice is unique to themselves. And so I thought, this is a really cool thing. I just love for everybody to see different ways of doing things. So when she agreed, I was over the moon thrilled, because like I said, she's a really cool girl. And I also want to do a really quick plug for her Etsy business, because I literally, again, it was like the same weekend that I got the car, this beautiful piece arrived that I ordered from her Etsy shop. This gorgeous evil eye bracelet, and it's got my star sign on it. I'm an Aquarius, so it's got the little Aquarius on it. She took a lot of time to make sure that these are not only gorgeous, but they're super magical. She enchanted them on the full moon and did the whole thing. So I was just delighted when I saw that she was selling these because I've admired her work for so long on YouTube. And so I was like, oh, okay, I have to get this. But it's just perfect and just a time to add to, you know, that good protection energy while I'm driving around in my car and doing all the other things in the world too. I've had this crystal in all of my cars for like 20 years. It was originally wrapped in copper and it's had many different lives throughout the years. Every time I get a new car, I take the old mount off and I cleanse it and re-enchant it and make a new mount for the new car. And it's definitely time to clear and re-enchant that. So I wanted to show you guys the process of how I do that. So here's what the crystal looked like when it came out of my car. I sculpted that hanger that's on there myself, and it's just been on there for a long time. It has some cracks in it, and it's a new car, so we need it to go. So I grabbed a screwdriver and just very gently popped just some of the edges off of that clay where the cracks were. And as you can see, it comes off fairly easily. You don't have to use a crystal as big as mine. You can use any size that you have on hand. Then I grabbed my needle nose pliers and I was able to just pop most of that cap right off of there. So now, as you can see, really the only problem that's left is physically is that it's got some paint on it, and that's just acrylic paint, so it's really easy to get off. I just used some warm water to kind of dampen that paint, and I was able to just scratch it off with my fingernails fairly easily. Next, I grabbed some full moon water because I decided that I wanted to cleanse and enchant this crystal with all the 4 elements. So I started with water and I just rubbed it all over that crystal with my intention that it would be cleared and ready to be programmed for my intention. Then I grabbed my little cauldron and some dragon's blood cone incense. Again, you don't have to use this kind of incense. You can use whatever you have on hand. Really, the idea is just use some sacred smoke. Now, I got double time out of my incense because I left it burning with the flame so that I could first bless and purify my crystal with the flame that was lit on the incense. And then I blew it out and used the smoke. So we had the element of fire and the element of air to bless and purify my crystal. Next was the element of earth. I had this really cool wooden bowl and some sea salt, and so I'm just leaving it sit there on the earth element while I go to the next step. So the next thing I did was gather together some herbs, and these are herbs that correspond with safe travel, magical protection, stuff like that. And I'm preparing these herbs to be ground up in my mortar and pestle, and then they will be suspended in a matrix of polymer clay. I started with rosemary, then I went to comfrey, feverfew, and you don't have to use the same herbs that I have. If you have other herbs you like to use for safe travel, definitely go for it. That's mint. And mint's one that's really easy to get. You can basically just use tea bags. Juniper. And I'm just using one little berry in there because that's all I really need. It's a small amount of clay that I'm going to be using to suspend these in. So now I'm going to just crush these up, and I want them to be a nice fine powder so it'll mix in with the clay. I want these herbs to add their magical power to this amulet that I'm making. So as I'm grinding, I'm adding my intention to that, because grinding herbs in a mortar and pestle takes a certain amount of energy. So if you just focus on your purpose as you do that, it's going to work out great for charging up those herbs. So now I grab my polymer clay, and you can use whatever kind you want. I sometimes will use Sculpey or Fimo. This is an off-brand. I think it's the Michaels brand. And then I just kind of make it nice and soft, and then I add the herbs into the clay, and I will work that together. Again, as I'm doing that, I'm putting my intention into that I want this to be an amulet for safe travel, and I'm focusing on the idea of being behind the road, being safe, and not worrying a bit. And then I grab my little crystal, and look how clean it turned out. I mean, it turned out pretty good. I was really happy with that. And this is so easy, you guys. I know it looks really elegant when it's finished, but trust me, anybody can do this. It's not hard at all. Basically, I'm just taking the clay and I'm squooshing it onto the end of that crystal and kind of making it fit. I want it to be kind of a tight fit around there. I don't want it to be super mushroom-like. I just want it to be kind of a nice little cap that will be decorative and hold my herbs in place. I'm taking a little extra clay off because I realized I had a little too much and it was just kind of too bulky. So I'm basically trying to create a little cap hanger that's maybe 1/4 of an inch around the sides. It might be 1/2 an inch at the top. It's a little thicker at the top because that's where I'm going to put the wire to hang it with. And basically just smoothing it down as much as possible with my fingertips. But as you can see, this part of it doesn't really take a lot of special skill. You know, this is where my kindergarten skills come in handy. Then I have a little hanger that I'm just going to poke into the top. It's just a little piece of twisted wire. It doesn't have to be anything, you know, remarkable. And then just kind of trying to smooth that around the top so that it looks nice. I am taking a little extra piece and I'm going to make a coil. Sometimes I like to wrap a coil around where the crystal meets the clay, and that just adds a nice little clean edge to it. It's pretty easy to do. In this case, I decided that I wanted to make that coil into a snake. Again, you don't have to do that. It can just be a coil, like a decorative coil, but I decided to turn mine into a little snake, basically to represent regeneration, renewal, and yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. So there's my little snake. That was pretty easy. Now this is where your favorite piece of pagan or witchy jewelry comes in. You're just going to press that right into the clay. So you see, if you do it this way, you don't have to be a skilled artist or anything to make a really cool piece to hang in your car. You just press it in there. If you try this and it sticks, you could use a little cornstarch to dust your pendant with. And I missed the edge, so I kind of went back in and kind of tried to press the little edge in there a little bit. But as you can see, now I have a nice little pentagram on my clay. And now I'm going to work my coil, my little snake, around the edge. And you'll see what I mean. It just gives it a nicer, cleaner edge where that clay meets the crystal. And it's a little blurry. I'm sorry about that. I don't think I realized it had gone out of focus. And then when you get to the end, you know, if it's too long, you can kind of just pull the little extra off of there if you wish. And then I just used a little tool to kind of curve it around and give it a pretty little end. Now I'm using this little tool, but you don't have to have a tool like mine. You can use anything you can get your hands on. I'm just adding a little bit of texture to the snake. I want it to look a little bit like it has scales. And then I used a pencil just to give you an idea of different things you can use to mess with your clay. And I'm just giving it a little texture all around the background so that it's not so boring and plain. And that's how it turned out. So I put it in a little glass pan. Follow the directions on your polymer clay package and bake it according to the directions. You don't want to overbake polymer clay because then it cracks and stuff. So I'm just using this little bit of outdoor metallic paint. Again, whatever you have on hand is fine, and whatever color you like is fine too. I decided to use silver. But you can see the texture that I created. Now I want to paint just the surface of those designs that are on there. So you want a really dry brush, put a little paint on, and as you can see on the paper, I've kind of scrubbed most of the paint off, and then you just lightly dust a pretty dry brush over the surface. So what will happen is the paint will cling to the surface, but it won't go into the cracks. And that way you end up with a really cool looking pattern. If you're doing it the opposite way and you're using white clay and you want to make it look really cool, you can use a wash, like just thin your paint down, paint it over the entire surface, and then wipe it off with like a little piece of fabric or a paper towel, and then the paint will go into the crevices and you'll wipe it off the surface. So there's two different ways kind of doing that. And make sure you rinse your paintbrush when you're done. I didn't rinse my paintbrush, so this is the last time you saw this paintbrush used. I don't know if I'm going to be able to save it or not. But it was, as you can see, pretty old, beat up paintbrush anyway. And there it is. So you can see it really makes the design stand out a little better than just the solid one color like that. So I just used a needle nose plier and a jump ring to attach my amulet to one of those 90s style tattoo necklaces to hang it from the rear view mirror with. It's a little stretchy, so I could stretch it around the thing. But you know what? You can use whatever you want. If you have a pretty piece of string that you like, or a pretty piece of elastic, really whatever you like, you can use to hang it from your rear view mirror.
The other thing that I'm going to do is, because I have a problem, you guys, I have to park on the street in this neighborhood because we don't have a driveway and we don't have a garage. People like to throw things at my car. I have had sodas thrown at my car. Somebody threw a piece of cheese on my car once. And most recently, somebody chucked a water bottle through the back window of my Saturn. I literally had just replaced that back window. It hasn't even been a couple of months, and then the transmission went out. So that was kind of a bummer. I've also had eggs thrown at my car. So I'm freaking over it, as you can imagine. And this is a new car, new day, new life. And this Switch is not putting up with any of that crap. So I also decided to break out an old spell that I wrote about in the 2009 Magical Almanac. And this is the perfect spell for this because, you guys, you can do it at any car wash. Then you don't have to be the weirdo outside, like under the full moon dancing around your car. I've made it really easy so that you can totally do this spell under the radar. It just looks like you're going to the car wash. I've used it before. I should have used it on the old car. It's hard for us to always think of the best things to do in the moment when we're already stressed out and every other thing that's happening in the world of today. So anyway, we can't go back, we can only go forward. So now I am ready to rock this spell out. Let's get down to that.
So this is just salt and lavender. I'm using this to sprinkle onto the carpeting in my trunk of my car. That's basically almost the only place in the car where there's even any carpeting. The rest of it is, they have these big rubber mats on the floors. So I'm going to use my Florida water spray, and I have another video showing you how to make that spray. If you guys are interested, I'll put a link up there at the top. I'll also put a link in the description, so no matter where you look, you can find it. This is great for purifying the inside of your car. You can also use sacred smoke if you want to, but to me this was just quick and easy, and it made the car smell fantastic. And since Dan's not smoking in the car, I didn't want to add smoke to the inside of the car. Oh, okay, hang on. Slammed my hair in the door.
So now my magical chariot smells like Florida water, which we love. I've got my salt and lavender in the trunk, absorbing anything that's in there. I've got my face mask, just in case I run into any people. I've got my hand sanitizer. Safety first. All right, let's go make some magic at the car wash, witches. I'm glad I got to take you guys for a ride in my new car. Okay, we have arrived here at the car wash. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to vacuum out the inside of the car. As you could see, there was dog hair and a little bit of dirt and stuff from our shoes since we've been using the car. I want to vacuum out the salt and lavender that I've got in the trunk. As I do that, I'm going to also visualize any vibes from other people, anything left over. Will be also sucked up by that vacuum. And same thing as I vacuum out the inside of the car. It's all done with visualization. Just visualizing anything untoward being sucked out of the car. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit the car wash. So I vacuumed the whole inside of the car with intention of pulling negative energy out of the car. I didn't get any footage of me vacuuming the inside because apparently it's hard to do while you're holding your phone. All right, all vacuumed out. Let's head over to the touchless car wash. I'm gonna get the higher package, which I don't usually do. I usually just hose off the car. Sometimes I will wax my car by hand. We don't have good weather coming, so I just want to get this one and done. I want to get it done quickly. As we go through the car wash, first I'm going to visualize the water washing off any energies that were left behind by other people who drove it before me. And then as we do the wax at the end, that is the point at which I'm going to enchant this car with magical protection to ward off bouncing rocks on the highway, thieves, vandals, anything like that. I'm going to be enchanting it with my intention and with an incantation that turns that clear coat into a magical tool that I'm going to enchant as it is applied to the outside of the car.
You have selected the Wash and Wax Car Wash. Please deposit $7. Thank you for your purchase. To start your car wash, please pull into the wash bay.
There's just something so satisfying about driving through a car wash. I think it's like super relaxing. It got really loud though when I was doing the incantation, so you'll probably miss part of that. Also, you can grab that incantation down in the description below. So now it says it's doing the clear coat. This is the part where we want to do this. Hot wax coating, do your thing. Shield from all damage, rocks, and dings. Hot wax coating, do your thing. Shield from all damage, rocks, and dings. Vandal and thief shall stay away. My protection shield is here to stay. Hot wax coating, do your thing. Shield from all damage, rocks, and dings. Vandal and thief shall stay away. My protection shield is here to stay. And now we are at the rinse cycle, and we're almost done.
Okay.
Okay guys, I hope that you really enjoyed that. I feel so much better knowing that I have magically protected my car. Yes, I have car insurance, but you know what? We do every level, right? You do the practical things, you do the safe driving, you keep your eyes peeled while you're out there, but you can also add the magic to it just for that extra layer of goodness. Now that you've learned my techniques for blessing and enchanting my car, pop over and check out 1fitbruja's video on how she enchanted her car. I always forget which side it's on, but it's up here somewhere. Somewhere up here. I will also put her link in the description down below. So whatever you do, you should go and check out her video too. And drop a comment over there and tell her hello. Give me a thumbs up if anybody's ever thrown anything at your car. Also, do you guys have any ways that you use to enchant your car that differs from how I do it or from how 1fitbruja does it? If so, drop me a comment down below and let me know, because I would love to hear your suggestions, and everybody in our community could definitely benefit from that too. Don't forget, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, you guys, and subscribe to my friend 1fitbruja over there on her channel as well. Thanks again, you guys, for stopping by. I'm always happy to welcome you here in my studio. Here are a couple more videos that I think you're really going to enjoy, and I will see you here next time. Until then, I hope that you stay safe, happy, and healthy. And remember, as always, to be your magic. Bye, everybody.